What's up, guys, and welcome to Xbox Ready, the YouTube channel that is all about Xbox. I'm Ray, and today I'm going to catch you up on some things you may have missed going on in the world of Xbox. And remember, if you want to stay Xbox Ready, make sure you hit that subscribe button and set your notifications to be alerted to whenever I post a video. In this video, we're going to be discussing how Xbox is finally breaking their silence regarding this controversial move of bringing their titles to other platforms, how Xbox's next console may be delayed, further evidence that Xbox may be leaving behind physical games entirely, and then we'll wrap up the video talking about a huge milestone that Palworld just hit on Xbox. This video is sponsored by Ugreen. This is the Ugreen RevoDock Pro 210, and it's one of those products that I didn't think I needed, but now that I have it, I can't imagine my life without it. I use my laptop not only to game, but to edit my videos, to stream, to watch TV, a bunch of stuff. And this thing is absolutely clutch. It's a 10-in-1 docking station that I can plug in my SD cards to move my footage over, my camera, my microphone for streaming. It has an Ethernet port, so I don't have to use a wireless connection. It is an absolute game changer. Here's what my setup looked like before. I had a bunch of stuff plugged in, and yes, I know it looks like a mess, but with the RevoDock Pro 210, it really cleans it up nicely. And because it has two HDMI ports, I can easily split my display between my ultra-wide and my standard monitor. I can plug in my capture card, keyboard, all sorts of stuff. It is a huge space saver. If you're like me and you're in desperate need of some extra ports, you can use the link down in the description to get a special discount. And if you're like, nah, that's too intense, they have a 9-in-1 dock and a 7-in-1 dock, as well as a ton of other options. So you can find the perfect one to suit your needs. Thanks again to Ugreen for sponsoring this video. You've probably heard about rumors regarding Xbox reportedly exploring the possibility of bringing titles like Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves to other platforms. And no, I'm not just talking about bringing them to PC or whatever, I'm talking about literally shipping them onto Switch and PlayStation 5 consoles. And rightfully so, there's been a lot of back and forth about this. This is a good move, this is a bad move, this is something that will lead to the downfall of Xbox, it's something that will lead to the downfall of human civilization as we know it. I don't think I'm joking, but video game discourse quickly escalates. The one thing that we haven't gotten is an official statement or acknowledgement about the situation at all from the man himself, Xbox. Well, apparently that's all gonna change in the spring, according to Idle Sloth and the ZeniMax employee, when Sarah Bond will finally take the stage, or I don't know what she's gonna do, upload a video, to have like a press conference, but apparently she's expected to come out in the spring and explain a shift in Xbox's strategy regarding Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves, and other Xbox titles. Unnamed ZeniMax employee says, wait for springtime, Sarah will say something. You guys will be fine. I've talked about this many times before, probably 3 or 4 times in as many weeks, so I won't get too deep into it. Quick version is that the candidates for being shipped to other consoles, Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves, I don't really mind if they were to appear on PlayStation 5 or Nintendo Switch or wherever. Hi-Fi Rush was a game that we didn't even know about until a year ago. Sea of Thieves at this point is 6 years old and could probably really benefit from having a cross-platform population boost. Although I will say that investing in the Xbox platform to play something like Indiana Jones, only to find out that it's getting shipped onto PlayStation a couple of months later, that would suck. Obviously, that would suck, but I don't think that's what's gonna happen.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Yeah, I filmed this on a Friday night, and since then, the game has fundamentally changed. Over the weekend, Tom Warren posted an article saying that sources familiar with him and The Verge said that Microsoft is exploring the possibility of bringing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle to other consoles after it launches on Xbox. He goes on to say that the timing of the release and platform availability is still up in the air, especially because this multi-platform stuff is still all rumors. Microsoft hasn't come out and confirmed it yet or finalized a strategy, but he was also able to confirm that these data mine images that show the Hi-Fi Rush logo in PlayStation Blue and Switch Red are legit, they're real things. And it's not just Tom Warren, Xbox Era is also getting in on the action as well, saying that not only Indiana Jones is going to be multi-platform, but also Starfield as well. Yeah, you remember Starfield, the game that just launched a couple of months ago? It had a $200 million budget, it was supposed to be the Xbox savior, and guys, I just cannot believe what I am seeing right now, man. Like, I really thought that they would leave the big first-party games alone and keep that exclusive to Xbox. especially after all of that back and forth over the FTC versus Microsoft, where we learned that there was a PlayStation 5 version of Starfield that ultimately got canceled after Xbox acquired Bethesda. Same thing with Indiana Jones, same thing with a bunch of other games. So it's crazy to me that I know that this is just a rumor right now, it's not concrete, but even if they're considering pivoting away from that decision and shipping those games to PlayStation 5 and other platforms, that is crazy to me. That is wild. Jez Corden over at Windows Central has also been chiming in on this. He said that he can't corroborate everything that's being said with his own sources, but the one thing that he can is that this move, this plan to bring their games to other platforms, is the subject of heavy internal debate over at Microsoft. With Microsoft saying, hey, the majority of our money is made by selling our games and services and our subscriptions. We should lean into that and release our stuff on other platforms. And Xbox leadership is like, no, we got to keep some exclusives so we continue to raise the value of the actual Xbox console. Now, I don't know exactly what is going to go down. It's one thing to ship Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves to other platforms. Those are not nearly in the same echelon or category or tier as a game like Starfield or Indiana Jones. No disrespect to those games, they're still good. I'm just saying that the expectations weren't there in the same way for Starfield and Indiana Jones. But if the big guns like Starfield, Indiana Jones, Blade coming up, if those are on the block to be shipped to PlayStation, then you have to wonder, even if you're a die-hard Xbox fan, what is the point of owning an Xbox console? It would be basically to play the games early. Jez Corden over on Twitter is joking that, oh, Xbox players are going to be beta testers they play the game for the first year and then it ships on PlayStation in a nice polished state. If you get rid of the exclusives entirely, it makes the hardware almost defunct, because you have a whole population of people who want to save money, things are getting more expensive, thinking, oh, I'll buy a PlayStation 5 so I can play all of their exclusives, and I know they're going to be exclusives because they've been consistent on that front for generations, and now I know that Xbox is going to ship their games over to PlayStation 5 maybe a year or two after, so I'll be able to get the best of both worlds. Who is going to be buying an Xbox console in that scenario? Think about me, Xbox. Think about Xbox Ready, the channel that talks all about Xbox consoles. Come on, man. But all in all, if you've been following me for a while, I've been talking exactly about this scenario, about Xbox being more of a game publisher than a platform holder or someone who produces consoles. And I've gotten a lot of heat for that. Oh, what is Xbox without Xbox consoles? Oh, Ray, you don't know what you're talking about. And now there's a very real possibility that that's exactly what's going to happen. I'm starting to wonder that if these acquisitions that me and other Xbox influencers have been hyping up as things that could prop up the Xbox brand and drive Xbox sales through exclusivity, I'm wondering if Microsoft is seeing the cost of these acquisitions. Bethesda, nearly like $8 billion, I'm pretty sure. Activision Blizzard, a bunch of billions. And they're like, you know what? In order to recoup our investment, let's just go ahead and ship those games out to all platforms. Hardware sales are declining, they're not really popping off in the way that we thought. So why not? Yeah, ship Starfield out to other consoles, especially because it got kind of middling reviews. Sure, why not? Let's launch Indiana Jones on PlayStation 5 as well, make a little extra money. And if they went down that route, then yeah, for sure, that would mean that game distribution, subscribing people to Game Pass, or getting more subscribers, that is their focus, not hardware sales. Because again, who's going to buy an Xbox if you can play their games anyway on PlayStation 5? Again, Microsoft has not come out and acknowledged any of this. Phil Spencer, there's rumors that he's going to be appearing on CNBC later today, and then there are people saying that he's not going to. So there's no acknowledgement of this yet. But the fact that notable reporters like Tom Warren, who usually doesn't report anything unless he's 100% sure, are talking about this, there's something there, guys. There is something there. I don't know what. And like I said in another video just recently, change is in the air, and I just want to know at this point. I think fans deserve to know what is going on. We need a statement from Phil. They need to get up on Twitter or like have a little live stream or something like that and tell us what's going on, because the fandom is in shambles right now. People are like, what the hell? I just bought an Xbox for Christmas and you're telling me that you're going to be shipping all your games on PlayStation anyway. I should should have just bought that. So earlier this week, podcaster Moore's Law is Dead had a leaker on to discuss some things going on at Microsoft and their partnership with AMD. In the podcast, they said that Microsoft was seriously shopping around with Intel and Nvidia to provide the chips for their next-gen Xbox. This would obviously be a major departure from what we have now because Xbox has a partnership with AMD. That's just how it is. They went on to say that it's not unusual that Microsoft goes around shopping with other semiconductor manufacturers just to see if they can get a cheaper price, but that this time Intel took a serious interest in signing a contract with them. This allegedly led to Microsoft dragging its feet in signing a contract with AMD, but apparently they've stopped ghosting them and that they've only now started work on designing the chip for the next-gen Xbox. If this is true, this would mean that development on the next generation of Xbox consoles is way behind the development of the PlayStation 6 that Sony already had a contract with AMD in place. If Xbox consoles made the jump from AMD to Nvidia or Intel, whatever, that would be huge for a number of reasons. Just recently, we've seen big first-party Xbox games partner up with AMD, like Starfield. They had like a specific partnership that even prevented features like DLSS being supported at launch. They made it so where modders had to go in and support DLSS for themselves when the game released. That was how deep, that was how close the partnership was between Bethesda, an Xbox-owned publisher, and AMD. Second of all, we're just starting to get to the cool part. We're just starting to unlock the potential of these AMD chips in both the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. PSR2 is just now starting to get support on consoles, including Xbox, so why would Microsoft just up and leave them behind just to save a couple of extra bucks? They're already losing money on console sales anyway. Also, changing the architecture of their chips would just open a whole other can of worms when it comes to backwards compatibility. If they were up and like, you know what, let's go ahead and change from AMD to Intel, it would most likely mean that they would have to emulate some of their older back catalog titles instead of running them natively on whatever the next gen Xbox is going to be. But I don't know, something seems fishy about this. I'm calling BS. I think this is a load of nothing. Guys, platform holders like Microsoft, like Sony, like Nintendo, they have the designs of these things. They have every detail of these consoles planned out years before we even hear about them. The Digital Series X was apparently being worked on as early as 2021, probably even earlier than that. 3, 4, 5 years before we even got an acknowledgement from Xbox that it's going to be a thing. I find it very hard to believe that Microsoft, Xbox, in their fourth round of releasing gaming consoles, would put themselves in a position that they would mess up this bad. And if they did, well then, Lord help me, because then I would have truly seen it all as an Xbox fan. Especially with these rumors floating around that Microsoft is targeting an earlier release date for the Xbox Next in order to beat the PlayStation 6 and get to market quicker. Also, as of right now, Eurogamer is the only one that's reporting on this. So it came from a podcast that I had literally never heard of to this one publication, which they usually do good work, but I'm saying if Tom Warren came on the scene and was like, uploaded an article on The Verge saying, yo, they're so behind, the next Xbox is delayed, this is a real thing, guys, I would be like, oh crap, this is happening. So going with my gut, I'm just gonna put it out there that the next gen Xbox is doing just fine, they're on track with whatever they're trying to do, it is not delayed. Next up, I got even more bad news for lovers of physical games and games preservation. I know, more bad news, as if it couldn't get bad enough. This is a topic, again, that we've talked a lot about on the channel in the past couple of weeks, in the past couple of videos. But the saga continues. Head of GameIndustry.biz, Chris Dring, and the editor-in-chief, James Batchelor, they were talking on their podcast miniseries. Chris Dring was asked his thoughts regarding the recent round of layoffs going on at Microsoft's gaming division, which resulted in the full shutdown of Xbox's physical game release division. And he responded by saying, "So I was told by a major publisher just before Christmas that across Europe, several retailers have started just not listing Xbox anymore. They've just stopped stocking Xbox games because Xbox is such a digital console now, that the physical performance of Xbox games is really low. And ultimately, when you're selling a console that most people are just downloading games for, it doesn't really benefit the retailer that much." He goes on to say that he wasn't able to corroborate this, that he's not sure what retailers in question have stopped selling physical Xbox games. But this is beyond where there is smoke, there is fire. This is a big, neon, welcome to Las Vegas ass looking sign pointing to an Xbox console and saying all physical games must go. There are too many things that are popping up day after day after day, pointing to Xbox ultimately leaving physical games behind and going full digital. The leak of the digital Series X, shutting down their physical release division, releasing certain games fully digital like Hi-Fi Rush, the continued sales and popularity of the Xbox Series S. It's just too much, guys. What else am I supposed to think? That other stuff seems to point to European retailers not selling physical Xbox discs. It makes it seem realistic, even if Chris Dring wasn't able to corroborate it. Again, I will reiterate, this is a move that I don't really care about. As it stands right now, my game collection is like 90% digital, 10% physical. But that doesn't mean everyone feels the same way as I do. There are a lot of physical game diehard fans that care very passionately about games preservation, which is something that, doesn't have a great track record in the digital games market. And I'm growing increasingly concerned that if Xbox were to move away from physical games entirely, and I don't know if they are, it just kind of seems that way, especially for first-party games, I wonder if it would result in the loss of longtime fans. Finally, let's end the video on a positive note. We've been talking about a lot of controversial stuff, quote unquote. Personally, I don't think it's so controversial, but it seems to be on the internet, like whenever I open up Twitter, just like a freaking like a veritable firestorm of extreme takes and tweets and back and forth and all that stuff. But let's talk about something positive. Let's talk about something concrete. Palworld has reached a huge milestone on Xbox since its launch. 7 million players have played Palworld on Xbox, whether it's through Game Pass, their console, or the Xbox PC app. Biggest third-party Game Pass launch ever. Because of its popularity, Xbox has taken my advice. I know someone at Xbox is watching my video, but they have begun working very, very closely with the developers at Pocket Pair to enable faster updates, dedicated servers, and many more. This game continues to surprise, and no matter how many people call it Pokemon with guns, Pokemon knockoff, whatever, people are still downloading it, people are still playing it, and it is only growing in terms of its popularity. For me personally, I like Palworld. I think it's fun. I've played a lot of it. But recently, I don't know, I hit a wall with it, man. The other night, I stayed up until like 3 a.m. doing nothing except building my base. And then the next day, I had a friend over and we were playing on my little setup right here. A couple of hours went by. We finished with me helping him catch this King Paka. Very cool, very exciting. But afterwards, I was like, you know what? I think I'm done. And I'm not even like towards the end game stuff yet. I haven't even been able to craft myself guns. I was like, you know what? Something about this, I just hit a wall. I think I'm gonna put it down, go play some other games, and then maybe come back when the game finally releases or gets a couple of updates. I'm not sure, but I hit a wall. Happy for them that they've had so much success, not only on Xbox, but on Steam. And I do firmly believe that if Xbox scores further exclusivity on this game, it could help them out a lot. But me personally, I've hit a wall with Palworld. Maybe I'll move on to Suicide Squad. Maybe I'll move on to P3 Reload. I don't know, but I gotta find something else. I gotta move on. Anyways, guys, that's all the Xbox stuff I have to talk about today. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of Xbox Ready. If you want, you can give me a follow on Instagram. I have an Xbox Ready account. I also have my personal account on there as well. And I'm posting to TikTok a lot, so I'd appreciate it if you check that out too. No matter what, I will be back to talk the latest Xbox news and do some other stuff as well. Xbox game reviews, accessory unboxings, everything in between. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.